The Rosetta, in its truest form, is just a wave. It's a wave that we're making side to side in the pitcher when we're getting close to the cup. And then we move backwards with that wave in the cup, and it creates these kind of leaves that stack all the way to the top. Very pretty, classic in latte art. So before we watch the actual pours, I want you guys to practice something with me. So the first thing you're gonna need is a pitcher. It doesn't matter which pitcher, the only thing that does matter is the spout shape. The sharper the spout, the more fine lines you're gonna be able to get, and the rounder the spout, the more wavy lines you're gonna be able to get. So it's up to you, use your choice.
Okay, let's do some practice together. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna fill a pitcher with some water. We're gonna start by creating a pencil's width stream coming out of the pitcher. Now, when learning the ripple, I find it easier to get a feel for practicing it at an exaggerated place. So to exaggerate those waves, what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn that pitcher on its side, and you're gonna pour out of the side instead of the spout. And now I want you to give the pitcher a push to one side. Now I want you to notice that the wave doesn't stop moving after it's gone to the other side, right? It's gone to the other side, it's fighting against gravity with the energy that you put into it, and then it falls down the pitcher and rises up to the other side, though not quite as high, and then it just trickles out after that. Since the wave doesn't stop after the push, we don't have to push every single time we want to make the wave. We can instead push the pitcher on the offbeat. So now that we've practiced this, let's move back to a normal spout. So you're going to tilt the pitcher with your pencil's width stream and then heavy side-to-side ripples. I like to either use my fingers to make the ripples, or you can just push the pitcher side to side. Now there are multiple types of spouts that all do their own thing, but in general terms, sharp spouts are going to be more capable of fine line designs, and wider spouts like this Starbucks pitcher or the periwinkle create bolder, rounder waves. And here's the wave off of a blender just for fun, and to make a mess on my floor with a bunch of water. So one great tip that I use to get these ripples to be more consistent is go onto Google and type in the search bar metronome. You'll see it comes up and you have a free access to a metronome. Usually I pick a BPM that is a little bit lower if I want to do wide waves, and a higher BPM if I'm trying to get sharper, finer lines. So let's go ahead and jump in and look at these pours and break them down. Up we have the classic simple Rosetta, a Rosetta that has no base and just consists of the leaves. So we're going to start by swirling out our freshly steamed milk. If you need a reminder on how to steam milk, you can click this link right here, and there's a whole video on it. Tilt your cup and integrate your milk from about 4 inches or 10 centimeters above the surface with a gentle stream of milk about a pencil's width, just like we practiced, until you fill the cup up about 3/4 of the way. For this Rosie, we don't need that much space to make the design, so we're going to fill the cup up a little more. Then you're going to break the stream and position the pitcher in the middle back of the cup, and then tilt the spout closer to the surface of the coffee and immediately start to ripple side to side on your x-axis, and simultaneously move backwards along the y-axis of the cup. You're going to stop at the top and develop that top part, or you can just cut straight through the design if you don't want a top part. Be warned, the heavier that you cut your design, the less of the color in the leaves is going to stay. You're going to sink all that color as you pull through your design. So you want to cut very light if you want open, wide leaves. Let's watch that again in normal speed. Next up, we have another classic Rosetta, but this time with the wings curled up at the base. And the trick with this Rosie is to allow the stream of milk to drift away from you while you ripple, rather than simply pulling back on the y-axis. So for this pour, I did transfer my milk to keep it extra silky smooth, and this is totally optional. I enjoy how it feels whenever you transfer milk and how well groomed and incorporated the foam is. But whatever works for you, works for you. That being said, you don't want puffy milk for this pour. So for this pour, we're also going to integrate a little bit less, allowing us more room to form that base that we're going to develop in the beginning of the pour. Once you're done integrating, you're going to start in the middle back of the cup, same as our simple Rosetta, and you're going to tilt the pitcher towards the espresso with a pencil's width flow and allow the milk to drift forward. And as soon as you can see a line about 1 centimeter away from the spout, you start that ripple, side to side. But make sure not to move the pitcher from the middle of the cup as you're rippling side to side. The base is going to naturally start to curl up and towards your spout if you're pouring with a consistent flow. So once it's risen and met your spout, you can begin to move backwards along the y-axis. And the rest of the design is the same as our simple Rosie. We're going to pull to the top, hold to develop the top part, or just cut through that design. The classic Rosetta, sadly, is not one I'm very good at. I'm not very good at fine lines because I always do such heavy ripples in my pores, so I'm sorry this didn't look quite as accurate as it could have, but it is still pretty. Let's watch that again in normal time. Things are getting a little bit more difficult now. This next Rosie is a bit more of an advanced intermediate. So the overall goal of this is to have the base rise up to the very top of the design, as well as grab more color in the design as a whole. So instead of simply drifting the milk, what we're going to do is we're going to create a current or a stream for the milk to follow. There are a bunch of techniques you can use to make that stream happen. I am going to use a push base today because it's my favorite. So first you're going to integrate less is more with fuller designs like these. You want to integrate just a little bit less. Then you're going to land the spout just above the middle of the cup if you were looking down, and just as the spout touches the surface, you're going to gently guide the pitcher forward and then come back to the middle, but make sure to maintain your flow rate here and not to break that stream. Sometimes I refer to this base as a mushroom base because it kind of looks like a mushroom when it's shooting away from your pitcher. And once you see it shoot away, you're going to begin to ripple very heavy side to side, really filling in that base. If the base is moving away from us, it has more color in between each wave. So once the base is almost at the spout, we're going to maintain those ripples, but in this case, instead of pulling straight back, you're going to push forward about a centimeter to close up the bottom part of the wings. And immediately, you're going to continue rippling while pulling back the pitcher along the y-axis. For this one, I used the heavier top part that pulls the wings up and around, but I made sure not to overwrap them into the design. Let's watch that one more time. Okay, so you made it to the advanced Rosetta. So now as we enter more advanced Rosettas, we're going to start having the rules change a bit. We're working with bigger leaves now, so we're trying to attain these large pockets of brown within those leaves. This style of Rosie feels a lot like surfing once you have the milk flowing out of your pitcher and you begin that wave. They also have significantly lower BPMs than some of our other designs. So our goal is chunky fat lines with immense color distribution and wide open leaves, and a lower number of lines and leaves altogether. So starting out, we're going to take our milk and we are going to steam it in a small pitcher and transfer it over to a large Starbucks pitcher for those wider, heavy waves. Now you can certainly use any pitcher you like. I just prefer the feel of this pitcher. Smaller pitchers do require a bit more push to get those wider waves to happen. They happen a lot more naturally in the Starbucks pitcher, so it's almost like you're doing less work with more of a result. The bigger surface area also means that the foam in my milk is slightly thinned out across the surface of the pitcher, so I can texture creamier milk and make latte art as if it were thinner. Starting out, we're going to integrate per usual, but we want to have less lines overall with a more dramatic look. What we're going to do is we're going to integrate more this time and leave ourselves less room to overwrap. Starting out, you're going to land the spout just at the middle point of the cup and start with that same push base as before, except this time we're going to ripple even wider. Things are going to happen really fast now, so you're going to stay in the middle for 3 to 4 ripples or until the desired amount for the base that you want. Then you're going to gently push forward while rippling about a centimeter and give your pitcher another heavy rock right before the pullback. This is going to give you more width in those waves as you pull back. The general rule with Rosettas and their leaves is that when you're pulling back, the faster you pull the pitcher up, the taller your leaves are going to be. And you're going to have less leaves overall because there's less time for that pitcher to rock side to side before you're already forming the heart. So if you want chunky open leaves, you need to pull back twice as fast as you would for normal leaves. And then the opposite is also true. If you pull back slower on the pitcher, your leaves will be shorter and they'll be more compressed. You'll also have more time to create the leaves, so you're going to have more leaves overall. Now for width. The general rule is that the wider you ripple, the wider the leaves are going to be, and the less you ripple, the tighter they're going to be. Let's go back to our Rosetta. We are going to push in and pull back all the way to the top with heavy ripples. And for that top heart, you can hold the pitcher still, or you can ripple even more, or you can stack your hearts if you want to prior to the cut through. I usually give my pitcher one last push because I like the way a rippled heart looks as the top of my Rosetta. And it's important that you cut through gently at the end because you don't want to sink all the leaves that you just made and ruin all your good work. And that's the advanced Rosetta. Let's watch it one more time. So that is the Rosetta from beginner, intermediate, all the way to advanced. And to be honest, I probably could have said more, and I'll likely make a part 2 to this video. But for now, that's all I have. I love you all so much. Have a good day. Dirty scumbags.